Alright, I know that everyone has seen the Kony 2012 video. And even I, for just a moment, got a bit teary-eyed. Because, I mean, it's in our nature to want to correct the wrongs in the world and to want to help one another. But this video was just way too perfect. It conveyed one side of the story too well. You know, it showed Joseph Kony as like a brutal, rebellious type leader with no convictions who just steals children in the night to fight his war. And it sounds super scary. But the whole time that I was watching that video, I was thinking, why is Kony doing all this? And by the end of it, they don't explain his motives, nor what the LRA is or what it stands for, or even what LRA means. And since all of you are simpletons who are just way too lazy to look the shit up yourself and love to jump on bandwagons that are supposed to be quote-unquote for a good cause, I figured I'd go do it for you. Now, before I get any further, I'd like to say that I am no way attempting to shed some type of savior or good guy light on this guy because he is doing some bad shit. But there's no need to jump to a conclusion about the situation when you don't know both sides of the story. Joseph Kony was raised as a farm boy and was an altar boy until 15 in his church. Then he followed his brother and became a witch doctor. After his brother died, he took the role as the main witch doctor, then went back to Christianity. I'm not sure when. I couldn't really find any information on when it happened. He never graduated high school, and he became a type of public figure when he became the leader of a group of people who believed that Jesus would physically become a person on the earth at the end times. Already, this guy has gone from Christianity to witchcraft and then back to Christianity, which kind of shows you this guy's frame of mind. He's not really there. And if he is there, he's a smart motherfucker because he's quick enough to know when he's losing battles and where he needs to move to somewhere else to gain more followers. What we're talking about now is the LRA, which was originally called the United Holy Salvation Army. It became huge with an estimated 10,000 stolen children being used as soldiers. And before 1992, that whole group had been more than defeated, with his groups only ranging in the hundreds at that point. Then he renamed his group from the UHSA to the United Democratic Christian Army. And that is when he decided he was going to kidnap some girls. It was like 50 from 2 different girls' schools in the area. Now, this group is now called the LRA, which stands for the Lord's Resistance Army. This man is a hardcore Christian fighting against his government. He's fighting for the change in government from what it is now, and he wants to change it into a theocratic government. What is a theocratic government? I'm so fucking glad you asked. It's a government that is governed by the laws of God. And in this case, it would be the 10 Commandments. So basically what he's doing is he's on a holy war against the government of Uganda to change their ways and change the whole governing system over to a theocratic government. Basically putting one person, God or whatever, at the highest point and saying that he makes the laws. A lot of you don't know this, which is funny, because he is fighting against the government and against all odds to try and make his life and his world around him a Christian world. He claims that God has sent angels to him to deliver the messages that he passes on. And in biblical times, he would have been called a prophet. People would have put him up on a pedestal. This man is being spoken to by God. Let's follow him. And nowadays, people that say that God talks to them are considered crazy people, or psychotic, or loose in the head. And, there's nothing wrong with saying that because it's kind of true. Anyway, let's talk about the Ugandan government. Now, you'd think since all this hype to stop the rebels and Kony against fucking all this stuff up, that the government would have better policies in place. And technically they do. In writing, they have tons and tons of anti-corruption laws and things like that. But what they put into practice is a whole nother ballgame. The government of Uganda in 1996 was estimated to have a corruption deficit of over $950 million, which is more than half of their annual budget. You know, they got political corruption, bureaucratic corruption, the taxes, even the police are heavily corrupted. Almost 20% of the people asked in 1995 in Uganda said that they had paid a bribe to the police to stay out of trouble. And even in 96, it was shown that 87% of the school grants given to the people were taken by high-ranking officials and pocketed. Like I said earlier, I gotta give it to Uganda because they do have very strict anti-corruption laws in place. But they're not enforced. Because the fact is that if they enforced the laws, they'd be putting themselves in jail, and that would be fucking retarded. There's also the possible fact that the people calling the government on charges of corruption have no safety against this backlash from the government. So I'm sure people are afraid to even say something about it. What are we left with? We're left with a hardcore Christian warrior, a soldier, who is going about killing in the name of the Lord and for the setup of a theocratic government. And he is facing a corrupt government who just wants to be left alone so they can make their money for free. Now, in the mix of all this, you have the Invisible Children group, who, to me, painted an extremely odd view on the whole situation, making Kony look like a murder-happy, rebellious piece of trash, and showing the opposition, not really the government, but this quasi-social type thing that they show to be a so much better alternative. All artists are attempting to do one thing: invoke an emotion in you through their piece of work. And that is exactly what this Kony 2012 video has done. The creator of it went about it beautifully, using those pictures of the children and the story of that kid to really grab hold of your heartstrings and make you say, we need to change this. But it's really one-sided. There's many pieces of information that were left out because that information would actually keep you from feeling that emotion. It's just a big piece of propaganda film. Just like the outright overstatement of the effects of marijuana in the film Reefer Madness, or the communist films from the 50s. The video, just to me, seems to be like a nice piece of propaganda that was made to make the government look better. And on top of all that, recently, the LRA and the Ugandan government have already started working on peace treaties. Why do you feel the need that we need to send soldiers over there to help with the situation when it's already been proven that Kony's armies are literally only in the hundreds of people now, and they're already working on peace treaties? And on top of that, you want to bitch and complain about bringing all our troops home, but then you want to go and send them to Uganda to take care of some shit that we have no business being in. That's all I had to say. Use your fucking brain. You have the internet. Look up all this stuff. I'm not just bullshitting. I want you to listen to what I said and go check the facts, because I spent like 5 hours today looking all this shit up just to make a video, so that you wouldn't have to do it. But I really hope that you will, so that you actually know that I'm not bullshitting. So, do me a favor and go look this shit up and get the hell off the bandwagon.